Okay, hi guys. It's Tara again. This time I am here to talk about how you approach your reading. Um, as I've stated in the past couple videos, we the research shows that people have about a 30-minute window of focused ability. Um, I happen to be the outlier. I don't work that way. It actually takes me probably about 20 minutes just to be able to focus on what it is that I'm trying to work on. So I'm the type of person that can and needs to study for a long period of time because it takes me a while to get warmed up. Most people, when they sit down and start studying, that's when they're the most focused. That's when their energy is the highest and all that. So we're going to work from that premise. You are going to have a 30-minute window, okay? So when you decide, after you've done your scheduling, which I've talked about in the previous videos, you know that you've got, let's say, 90 minutes of, or let's say you've got close to 2 hours of scheduled time right now that you're going to study. So we are going to only handle this in 30-minute increments, okay? So first thing you're going to do, sit down wherever it is that you do your studying. No distractions, no music playing. I don't care how much you think that helps you, unless it's like a white noise type of music that doesn't have words, isn't going to be distracting to you. You will be focused more on the music than your studies. So keep that to a minimum. Okay, so open up your textbook or whatever the learning guide says is your reading. All right, the first thing you're going to do is go to the chapter summary. That's right, you're done. Yay! The reason we do this is because the chapter summary is exactly that. It summarizes the chapter. Probably some important stuff in there, right? So we want to begin our study session with, hey, what's important? What did the writer talk about or writers talk about in this chapter that I should know about? So you're going to read that. That'll take you maybe 2-3 minutes. Then you're going to go back to the beginning of the chapter and read the chapter titles, headings and subheadings, look at pictures, read the what do you call that? The description under the pictures, look at any tables or charts or graphs that are in the chapter, look at the bolded words. What kind of vocabulary are you going to learn in this chapter? All of that scanning and skimming, a total, including the chapter summary read, maybe about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so now you've got a really good idea of what this chapter is going to talk about. If it's psychology, you'll see one set of vocabulary. If it's a business management course, you're going to see a completely different set of vocabulary. So now you've kind of got the crux of what you're going to be doing in this study session, in this unit. And so now you're going to go ahead and start reading the topic sentences, which is the first sentence of the paragraph. You want to read for about 20 minutes. So kind of gauge, you know your reading speed. Are you going to get through one section, 2 sections, 3 sections in this 20 minutes that you have to read? So kind of mentally note where you're going to stop reading, because we only want to do this in 30-minute sections, which means 20 minutes of reading, okay? So go ahead and read through the section, 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections, whatever you are going to get done in your 20 minutes. After that 20 minutes, stop reading. Now you're going to spend 5 minutes reviewing. You think, why do I need to review it? I just read it. Trust me, there is a method to my madness. You're now going to go back to the chapter summary. Read the chapter summary again. What in the chapter summary that you read the first time that you didn't know, do you now know? Because you've read about it in the chapter. What's still to come? Now you've read the chapter summary again. Go back to the headings and the bolded words and the pictures and the charts and all of that stuff and read through those again. Some of it will trigger a memory because it's something that you just read about. Some of it will still sound foreign because you haven't gotten to that section of the chapter yet. But what you're doing is foreshadowing. And just like in the movies, foreshadowing is a way of introducing something that will be introduced to you later. Okay, it's like a pre-introduction. Okay, it's kind of like online dating. You know, you chat with someone before you actually physically meet them. So this is kind of that chat before you go and meet the psychology or you meet the business management. Okay, so 5 minutes of just reviewing all of that stuff. And then you're going to get up and you're going to take your break. 10 minutes, no more, no less. 10 minutes, go get something to eat, get something to drink. Water, water, water. Water is so important. You've got to stay hydrated. Maybe you're going to do some exercise, get the blood flowing, you know, get your energy up. Maybe you've got an email that you need to formulate and send. Go do that. Maybe it's a phone call. Make sure it's no more than 10 minutes, but take your 10-minute break. And now we're back. Okay, our 10-minute break is over. We're in the second 30 minutes of our study period. What am I going to do? Review. Go back to the chapter summary, read it again. Make note of what is familiar, what's still foreshadowing of what's to come. Go back to the chapter summary, or back to the chapter, read the chapter titles and the headings and subheadings and all that stuff again. Bolded words. Look at the bolded words again. Pictures, descriptions, all of that stuff again. Because we learn through repetition. And so what we are trying to do is learn the chapter as we're reading it to help with future projects like the written assignments, the quizzes that you will take, the graded quizzes, and then of course the beloved final. So we are trying to formulate a study pattern that will be conducive to you not having to stress out during finals week. You're going to walk into finals week if you follow my plan. All you have to do is review and go take the test. I had 4 courses this past term. It was term 2 of the academic year 19 and 20. I saved myself. 2019, 2020. So we're just finishing term 2. I had 4 courses. I'm done with all of my finals. I did one on Thursday when they opened, and I did the other 3 yesterday. And all I had done was basically reviewed all of my notes again, which maybe took me an hour, hour and a half per class because of how I study all through the term. So if you start my system and carry it through the entire term, when it comes to finals, hour, hour and a half per class, and you go take the test, I got 2 A's, an A minus, and a B plus on my finals. So I have 4 A's for my classes. So it works. But you've got to be disciplined, and the discipline that it takes to do this really ends up saving you time if you do it right. So right from the beginning, do it the way I describe and thank me at the end of the term, okay? All right, so our 30 minutes is up. We're coming back to sit down. We are reviewing, going back to the chapter summary. We've read the chapter headings and all of that again. Now I'm going to pick up where I left off in my reading and keep reading for another 20 minutes. I am done with my 20 minutes of reading. What am I going to do? Yep, go back to the chapter summary, read that again. Now, more of that chapter summary should ring a bell. It should, oh, that's what they were talking about. Yeah, that was described in the second section, and they were talking about this, that, and the other thing. And then you're going to review one more time all of those words and headings and pictures and charts and pies and all that kind of thing, okay? Now, 10-minute break. Go do your exercise, get some food, get some drink, water, water, water. Do whatever, whatever you need to do to be completely away from the studying, okay? Make a phone call, do some push-ups, do some jumping jacks, do some yoga, listen to some music. I don't care, just as long as it isn't the studying that you're trying to concentrate on, okay? 10 minutes is up. Come on back, time for your last session, because remember, we only had 2 hours and we're taking 3 10-minute breaks, so that only gives us 90 minutes of actual study time, okay? So, review. Go back into the chapter summary, read it again. And trust me, this seems really mundane, but when you actually do it, you end up doing it so quickly and so automatically that you know the chapter by the time you leave your study session. You know that chapter. Now, instead of spending, an hour reading it now, and then you come back to it 4 or 5 days later and you've got to completely almost reread it because you don't remember anything. When you come back in a few days to start working on your written assignment or the discussion forum or whatever part of the assignment you're going to work on, it's just going to be a review. It'll be a quick breeze over, oh, yep, this is what I need. The question is asking this is the information that I need, and you'll be ready to go. So trust me. All right, so we've done our review. We've read another 20 minutes. We are going to review everything that we have studied in our study session. Now, because you had 30, break, 30, break, 30, we've got 10 minutes left. Your last 10 minutes, you are going to write yourself a quiz. There are a few ways you can do this. The first way is to take the chapter summary and black out or white out some of the key words. If it's business management and it's talking about the POLC framework, P-O-L-C, you could black out or white out any planning, organizing, leading, or let's see. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember. Anyway, black out all of those types of words and then go through it, and can you describe what word goes in there, and can you describe the concept? Remember, what we're going for here is understanding, not rote memorization. Even with the new vocabulary that you're learning, we do not want to rote memorize the word and the definition, because that won't do you any good. Especially as you go through the courses, most of the instructors at the University of the People anyway, they will let you know that the final is going to test you on the concepts. So your self-quizzes and the graded quizzes will test you on some concept, some vocabulary, some, all the different parts of the chapters. The final is going to look for true understanding. Just because you know the concept or you know the vocabulary of the POLC framework or the balanced scorecard or Milton Friedman's theory, hierarchy of needs, just because you know that, you've memorized it, do you understand the concepts? Do you understand how it is used in the workplace? Do you understand how you as a leader, as a business owner, can use that framework to help your employees be more creative, more innovative, more productive? Can you use this stuff? So that's what the final is looking for. So that's what we want to start studying for right from the beginning. Okay, so in your 10-minute little quiz that you're writing for yourself, maybe you take the chapter headings and you turn it into a question. The balanced scorecard. It's a great tool that we learn about. It's a great way to help people as individuals. We all have different personalities, and it kind of helps us figure out what people do we work with best, and what people do we maybe not work with so great, and how can we mitigate that? How can we make ourselves more availed to the people that maybe we wouldn't necessarily work well with? Um, so you can turn that into a question. The other thing that you can do, and this sounds a little crazy, but it works. You teach. Okay? What you have just read for the past 90 minutes, teach it. Teach it to, I've got salt and pepper here. I'm going to teach the Polk framework to the Mr. Salt and Mrs. Pepper. Okay? Because when you teach it to someone, if there happens to be someone else there that can actually ask you questions, great, use them. But if that's not a possibility because you're studying all by yourself, just explain what you have learned to whatever inanimate object is around you. It will help you be able to find the words to describe these concepts. And when you can do it in your own words and help someone else or something else understand it, number one, you'll question yourself and you might stumble over words, and that's a good thing. Now, we want you to stumble now, not during the final. Okay? So teach it to whatever object is around. If there's little kids, have them sit down and tell them the story of the Polk framework. Tell them the story of the balanced scorecard. Tell them about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Whatever you need to do so that you are verbalizing what it is that you just learned. Okay? And then you can use that to, like I said, turn the chapter summary or turn the chapter headings and subheadings into questions. And that becomes your quiz. Now you're done, so you pack up everything, you're done studying for now, you got to go do whatever you got to do. When you come back the next time, of course, you're going to start with just a review. Review the chapter summary, review your chapter headings and all of that stuff, and then kind of just quickly go over that speech, that your teaching, your instruction on the topic. And then continue on, do whatever it is. Are you doing the discussion forum? Are you starting to work on your written assignment? If so, gathering your references first can really help save you a lot of time. Something that I did when I was in the Bachelor's in Business program was I would, at the beginning of the term, the textbook, citation, and reference, anything that was given to me at the beginning of the term, I would then turn that into a PDF or a Word document where I could just cut and paste. So I didn't have to keep going back to the learning guide, finding that link, clicking on the link, creating the citation, blah, blah, blah. Such a waste of time. So anytime I could streamline that, I would. So definitely take the time to create a document with all of the references that you might need for your written assignment. And that way you can just cut and paste as you need them. Another thing that I realized was when I'm doing the written assignment, it is more time efficient for me to just go ahead and write. Just write about what it is that I'm thinking I want to put in my paper. I want to make sure that I answer all of the rubrics, obviously. So go back to the question that's being asked or questions that's being asked. If it gives you the assessment criteria, make sure that you're meeting all of those assessment criteria and just write. This is going to be a rough draft. You've still got to add your citations and your references and pretty it up, fix the grammar, fix any syntax, but just get your ideas out on the paper. If you're typing it, just go ahead and type it out. Answer all the questions, make sure you meet the word minimums and all that kind of stuff. But this is just a rough draft. kind of like a journal. You're just thinking out loud, you're writing, and nobody's going to see this yet. So just get it all out there. Then, after you're done with that, that's when you can actually go in and fine tune everything. Once all the ideas are there, then you can start pulling in the citations and the references that you need to make it APA formatted. You can add the title page, you can add your separate reference page, use an abstract if you want. An abstract is very close to an introduction and conclusion. So the abstract is going to talk about what the paper is going to talk about and what conclusions you are going to draw. So you really can't write the abstract until the paper is done. You'll write your introduction, what questions you're going to answer, what problem are you going to look at, or what philosopher are you going to talk about, whatever your topic is, that's your introduction. In the conclusion, of course, you can restate facts, you can ask a question that would lead them to further investigations. If it's an analytical or an argumentative essay, you can ask questions that will lead them to maybe understanding your side. Whichever type of conclusion you're going to write, that'll be in there. So then you'll take your introduction and your conclusion and kind of fine tune that into the abstract, which will kind of ask and answer all of the questions that your essay is going to ask and answer. Okay, you don't have to use an abstract throughout the courses at University of the People in the Bachelor program anyway. It just adds street cred. It adds some academic cred, if you want to think of it that way. So, it's up to you if you want to use that or not. I usually wrote an abstract just because I liked it to be fully APA compliant. Yeah. Okay, so you have now had your study session, you've written your rough draft, you're going to go in and kind of fine tune everything. Unfortunately, the University of the People is way over the top when it comes to APA formatting and citations and all that kind of thing. I am not saying that it's a bad thing to cite references. Of course it's not. If this isn't my original thought, I need to give credit where credit is due. But when it overshadows the learning, that's where I have a problem. And that's all I'm going to say. Otherwise, I'm going to go off on a rant. But you do have to have the citations in the proper format. Make sure your parentheses are in the right place if you're doing an inline citation or one at the end of the sentence. If you're doing a direct quote, whatever it is, there are different styles of citing. So make sure that fits. Excuse me. Your reference page is always a separate page from the document. To follow APA formatting, your references should be in hanging indent, which means the author's name will be here, and then the second line will be indented, and the third line, and so forth. And they're to be single spaced with a double space between them. All references should be alphabetized. So if you have an A and an E and a C, no, A, C, E, and then, alphabetized. Okay? What else can I tell you? There are some great sites for citation. Citationmachine.net, I think it's one of them. I use citethisforme.com. And within there, you can choose APA or Harvard or MLA or whichever style of citation you need. As I said, University of the People uses the APA formatting. So make sure that's chosen and it'll put the author's name where it needs to be. Because it's an online university and because the research that we tend to do now is all online, it's going to be websites, it's going to be PDFs, it's going to be other papers from other people around the world. Sometimes when you go to cite, all that information is available. The author's name isn't available. The publisher's name isn't available. Dates might not even be available. So you might have to do a little more research to try and find that information. Most of the time, yeah, I'd say probably 60% of the time, with a little digging, you can find the actual author of a web page or, especially the ones that the school tends to use. Something I will call out here, though, Wiki. Ugh, makes my skin crawl. Wiki is never, ever, 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 ever to be used as an academic resource. Unfortunately, this school uses it as reading sources for the learning guides. It drove me crazy. And it goes as far as that's part of your learning guide. It's telling you you have to read the wiki wand or wiki and something or other. You go there, you read about this person, and then you're supposed to answer questions in the discussion forum about this person. Well, we know you have to cite your resources, so now you're going to cite Wiki. And I saw this happen in this past term. It was in a philosophy class. We were told to read these two wiki-ands about Freire and Dr. Barbara Whitehouse, something like that. Anyway, this girl had quoted or, she used the wiki wand or wiki whatever as a citation and then referenced it at the end of her post. And the professor wrote to her and said, "See my post from the beginning of the term. You were told you never use wiki as an academic resource." And of course, as a mother, as an educator myself, I took issue with that because she was just doing what she was told to do. We're told to cite resources. That was the reading resource that we were given for the week. So she did it and then she got reprimanded for it. So in a private message, I went to the professor and I said, "Look, I totally agree. And I couldn't believe it when I saw it as part of our learning guide, but she was only using what the school told her to use. I get that it's not an academic resource. I don't use Wiki for anything. But when it's given to us as part of our assignment, we're kind of stuck." And his reply, unfortunately, wasn't great, but I don't think his English is great, and that's why it wasn't a great reply. Anyway, you have to deal with that as well. And let me, for the last minute and a half that I have here, let me talk about the purpose of a bachelor's degree. Whether it be in computer science, health science, business administration, philosophy, English, composition, journalism, politics, political science, doesn't matter. There are certain classes, there are certain situations, there are certain experiences that you are going to have that are kind of extemporaneous to the actual learning that is built in to getting that bachelor's degree. Now, I mean, you are going to learn how to deal with situations that are less than stellar. learning environments that, aren't necessarily conducive to really strong learning. You're going to have to learn to communicate and negotiate with roommates, with other people in your building, with people all over the place, because you have to have certain things done and you need quiet for that, or the you need to take a shower at 7:30 in the morning because you have a 9 o'clock class, and you've got stuff that you have to do before that. All of those little situations, they are also part of the program. They're part of the education. They're part of making you this well-rounded person that not only can speak eloquently about the subject matter that they're learning, but can also deal eloquently with life. Emotional intelligence is a really big buzzword nowadays, and especially as leaders, if you are going into business management and you want to have your own business, or you want to, work your way up into higher management in the company that you're currently working in, you have to have emotional intelligence. You have to be able to step back, not take the attack personally, look at the situation for what it is, and make clear decisions on how to move forward. And believe it or not, even little interactions like the wiki thing was something where I had to learn at 49 years old. I had to step back and go, okay, how do I handle this? It's not affecting me, but because I am who I am, I had to stand up for what is right. And she was being attacked wrongfully. She was just doing what she was told to do. And had she not cited that resource, someone else would have potentially given her a bad score because she didn't cite her references. So, learning to make all of those little decisions is another big part of getting a bachelor's degree, or getting, any type of degree at a university. And even an online university, you still have these interactions. And so that is all part of the learning journey. And I hope that my videos will help you make the most of your journey, whether it's online or in class. But let me know. Give me a comment down below. Let me know what you like. What else would you like to see in videos? I plan to do a bunch of these for the students that I mentor. I now mentor 207 students at University of the People. So I would be more than happy to have you join our WhatsApp group if you'd like, or just comment below and let me know what you'd like to see in the next video. Okay? Thank you. Ciao.